Yay! This is a breastfed baby. But you want to talk about the experience of what it meant.
Avery is about to be 10 months old, and we are still breastfeeding.
Yes, I see.
She took her first unassisted step the other day.
When I had her in 1975, it was not the thing to do. So none of my friends breastfed. I didn't. I had the baby. I had to go back to work. And workplaces were really not that friendly. We would have lost our jobs, quite frankly, immediately if we had said, you know, I need to make arrangements so that I can, you know, pump.
Exactly.
Or, it just didn't enter our minds. So. It's missing once more.
Amazing.
There we go.
So, you know, originally my plan was, or my thought was always, you know, to get to that 1 year mark, because, you know, that's where all the doctors say if you can get to a year, it would be just great. And I always thought if I could get to that year, I would feel like a champion. And now that we're not that far away from the year, I actually find myself sort of thinking, you know, maybe we'll just sort of do this until it doesn't make sense anymore. So
She's going to be walking soon, you know. Well, I knew that I was going to do formula big, you know, right away. You know, when I had my daughter, there was no pressure from my mother that I should breastfeed. I mean, she was a working woman, had worked all of her life. She was clearly, you have your baby, you know, spend some time with her, and then you go back to work. We've been working people, pursuing careers, so it's never, I mean, housewifery was not something, at least in my family and my friends, that was something that was, or stay-at-home mommy was not an option either financially or something. You know, I was just delighted when Elizabeth said that she was going to stay home, and I said, well, Avery, you're the luckiest baby in the whole wide world. So.
what happened? Hey. It's hard for me to think of a friend of mine who did not breastfeed their child. The one thing that that did surprise me was the level of pride I felt in it. So, you know, when we would go to the doctor and she would get weighed and, you know, the doctor would squeeze her thighs and be like, look at those great thighs. I would just sort of think to myself, oh, I did that.
And I think what was interesting is Elizabeth was talking about the baby, the hospital where the baby was born, only working towards being a baby-friendly hospital, which is shocking given its stature in the medical world. Elizabeth and the NICU were separated by several floors, so, you know, here's a mother who's just had a C-section having to walk or get in a wheelchair and go 2 floors to feed her baby. A sack? Are you interested in a sack? Needless to say, I was shocked when I saw how chubby she was getting and how much weight she was putting on with Elizabeth breastfeeding. So I am a complete devotee.
You're a devotee.
A believer in breastfeeding, right? No, my mother did not breastfeed me, and it may have been because she was ill. I remember distinctly, we also lived on a farm, so my guess is the milk came from our cows. Non-pasteurized to be sure, and I distinctly remember my bottle was a Coca-Cola bottle with a nipple on top. This is rural Alabama, 1940s. So I think, though, that certainly her mother breastfed her. There were 15 children. There just wasn't any other option. I mean, formula did not exist then.
It can be extraordinarily difficult, even under the best circumstances at work. You know, and I think that often gets in the way of, you know, the very best intentions.
I think the more we talk about the value of it, and I think the more the more bosses and companies understand it and create a receptive environment for it, then I think you'll find more Black women taking advantage of it.
This is a breastfed baby.
Look